So we're back, and the latex is now nice and dry. And you can see I've got two different textures. The texture from the toilet paper and the texture from the cotton balls. And I built up like a really good sized lump with one of the cotton balls, while this one's a little bit less textured. You can see how big that bump is. So we're going to paint these to finish the effect, right? And you want to, get the right texture for the effect that you're going for. With the cotton, I've decided it looks like some kind of really gross infection. So I'm going to want to make it feel, like it's rotten and gross. And so I'm going to go in and start adding color. And the first color I'm going to go in with is yellow. Because yellow, is like pus and other gross things. So I'm going in and laying in some yellows. And I might also blend in some whites. Because they're fun, gross kinds of colors. It's also really nice to kind of highlight all of that texture that you're doing. So here I'm gonna have the rest of the skin feel kind of broken open and festering, so that we're kind of seeing the inner layer of skin, not the surface. And so I'm going to go in my low areas and I'm going to start painting those in, getting in the shadows, right? Working in the shadows. And that's also going to help the bright areas stand out more. And the nice thing with the latex is it puts up with a lot of paint, and I can really just go in there and work at it. But I want to take advantage of all of this texture that I've built. So here you can see how it's starting to look really wonderfully gross. I'm going to go in and add some brighter reds, and I'm just kind of scumbling them in there. And then you want to really push the dark spots, and so that purple is going to be your friend for really working down into the shadows. So you've got those pustulant things coming up. And all of that beautiful texture you created is going to read. Because, I mean, when you were looking at the earlier video, you're like, Catherine, I can barely see what's going on. And now you're like, Catherine, that's kind of gross. Sometimes you might want to push some of the high parts. So I'm going in and I'm just hitting the highest parts. If you have any glycerin, it's really great for making this stuff shiny. And you can head back into normal skin with base, or maybe it kind of peters out into the normal skin with some pinks. And so it goes from being two-dimensional, you know, fully three-dimensional, and then you can blend it out two-dimensionally. So here we've got some nasty infection, right? Yeah, a little more yellow because I'm digging the yellow. So that's some gross, infected, pustulent kind of skin. Now, down here, with this texture, I have decided that I want to do a burn. And when you are doing a burn, it does help, again, to look at research. And one of the things you sometimes see, particularly with really extreme burns, is the skin will get so fried it actually breaks, right? It'll crack like the skin of a chicken that's cooked too long. It'll crack and it'll reveal skin underneath. And so, causing trouble, I am gonna take some scissors and I am actually going to get in here and I'm just picking up that latex that I applied, right? So I'm not cutting my own skin. I am just cutting the latex and toilet paper. But I can then open it up, peel it, keep working. Open up. So now I've got this real nice cut. Right? So when I open up a cut like this, I want to use shading to my advantage. I want this to feel really deep and dark on the inside. And so when I go into paint, I am going to use the darkest red and black to get in there. And so I'm picking up dark red and gonna fill in so you can see how it's starting to go in there. And also want to get some black in the crevice, right? So underneath that latex, get some black in there. And then also on the inside, let's hit a little bit of that bright red in the middle. So we are painting that inside. I also like to put some pink on the inside of the latex flap. So I've got pink in there. So, because latex is kind of a funny color, and so you don't want to leave it just latex colored. So we are building up that little cut. So with the more extreme burns, they tend to be pretty darn red. And so we are going to go in and hit up all of that texture. And I'm not forcing the color all the way down because I don't want my color to be too solid. Kind of dry brushing it a little bit helps the latex texture read. And so here you can see starting to build it up. I like using pinks in here too. Some of the burgundy. Ah! Don't spill the blood. Don't spill the blood. And so you don't want it to be just super opaque and super solid. You want it to have a lot of texture and a lot of depth. Just keep working your colors, scumbling them on, and layers and layers and layers. I need to get a little darker in there. So that we're really getting that. With third-degree burns, the skin does actually pick up. It turns black in spots because it is that badly burned. Less extreme burns don't get as much black. But boy howdy, will you see black on a third-degree burn. So here we've got some of the skin getting real crispy. And you also want to put in some highlights. With highlights, I just hit some of those high parts of the latex, just so that that texture is going to read at a distance. And so you see we're getting some real nastiness. And just like with our infected area, you can kind of go off into flat skin, plain skin that's not been hit. So right now these are both feeling, you know, pretty good, but maybe a little bit flat, right? That's where judicious use of blood comes in. So what I'm going to do is very carefully, and it's hard to do with one hand, but I'm going to lay the blood right in that cut. So there you can see how it shines in the cut. And you might dot the wound texture with some blood because it gives you some shininess. But again, if you do too much blood, all it does is it looks like a big smear of blood, and you lose all of your depth and all of your detail. So it is much better to be judicious with the blood. Same thing up here, like a little judicious use of blood can really make it shine without undoing all of your work. So here we've got some fun pustules. Down here we've got a burn that has broken open. You can build up like cotton ball bones and have like bones showing or tendons. Really, the limit here is your creativity. A little bit of blood is also really effective in the mouth or coming out the nose or coming out the ear. As said, it's mint flavored. I just ate some. So it is perfectly safe for your mouth, but as said, it is hard on your clothes. So I encourage you to really look for inspiration and really have some fun with building up gross stuff, using the tools that are available to you.